if AI can do the numbers, and I've had some very interesting discussions this particular week around everything that we think might happen and where AI might take us as a profession. And so if it gets to that point where it does all the numbers, it does all the modeling, it does all the reporting, what does that leave for us as financial planners? Well, the answer, everything AI can't do. We've got to figure out what that is. And in today's episode, I've got a special guest in Sharon Moller, and we're going to talk a lot about this. And where is our value? What is it that AI can't do that we can? Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, today is one of those days like we used to start the show with our coffee when it was still VCF back in the day, long time ago. But I hope you've got a coffee where you are. I don't think it matters where you are today. It is cold if you're in South Africa. So thank you very much for joining us. Looking forward to a great episode and a great show. And we've got a full house today. It's been a while. It feels like that we had so many people here in the studio. So looking forward to a great discussion and some insights from everyone involved. And today, talking about obviously this whole discussion around, where's AI going? It was such an interesting week for me, doing a few talks around the country about different aspects of technology and AI and automation, all sorts of things. And then having, say, like almost off the record conversations with people afterwards and sort of that. So it's very interesting to see how things are shaping up. So today's episode is really important. And we've got one of the best people that I know that is really in touch with how do we deeply connect with clients and so much more. And that is Sharon Moller from Old Mutual Wealth. So looking forward to our discussion later, Sharon. Then, of course, what is a show if we don't have Lalani and the FBI in the house to tell us what is happening in our profession? And then Razan is back with Digitally Savvy Advisor. Razan missed the last one, so that's probably why it feels such a long time has gone by. But she is saying the bio is back and looking forward to hear what she has to share with us. Then David is here with Bulletproof Your Business, today talking value propositions. We've got Lene with another funky announcements episode or segment today so that we can share with you everything that you need to know. And then I'll get into the conversation with Sharon. So looking forward to that. Let me say good morning. If you haven't said good morning in the chat, please do so. And not only say hi to me, say hi to everybody that's here. There's a lot of people here. So please say good morning. Kobus, first in the house for the first time in a long time. Terence, second. How's it? Elmine, good morning. Thank you for saying hi and good morning to you. Got Albert in the house. Good morning, Albert. Hope you're doing well. Frederic, good morning from a very cold Johannesburg. Yes, I'm glad I'm not there. I was there this week, but good, I'm not. Nikki on the other side of the screen for a change. Good morning, Jan van Huisteen. Good morning, Jan. Liana, good morning. Hope it's going well in KZN. Lauren, good morning to you as well. Frank Agliotti, good morning, and nice to have you with us as well. Arun, goeiemorgen, lekker, Dani Parel. Neil Phillips, good morning, hope you're doing well. Francis, goeiemorgen, nice to see you as well. Alani is also saying hi to everybody. Johan Beans, good morning. Mr. JP, how's it? Vuledzani, lekker, hope you're doing well. Chriswell, good morning. Nice to see you as well. Deborah, good morning. Nice to have you with us. What a beautiful picture. And then we've got Carl also in the house. Carl, good morning. And I hope you're all doing fantastically well. All right, ladies and gents, let's get the show on the road. I've got a few other things to get on the road today. So here we go. Here's Lalani with the latest news.
Yes, good morning, Franch, and everybody. It is indeed quite cold here in Centurion. It's 3 degrees, but I guess somebody from the North Pole we'd say we are in the middle of summer. So welcome. Let's quickly scoot to what is happening at the FSCA. So I have 3 stories for you this morning, Francois and team and everybody online. So more than 40 investors in the small KwaZulu-Natal town of Escort are desperately trying to trace their financial advisor after millions of rands appear to have gone missing. Rumor has it that it's about 200 million that is involved. Clients say that Rukhsana Khan, the owner of Wood & Boone Insurance Brokers, stopped answering calls last year already. Complaints poured into the police, who allegedly turned people away, and the FAI's ombudsman, which ruled it has no jurisdiction as the agreement seemed to have been private deals, not involving regulated products. I actually spent some time with John last week where he confirmed that they dismissed all these cases because there's no regulated product involved. It is an agreement between the financial advisor and the client themselves. Meanwhile, Khan's lawyer Ich van Rooyen told investors in the letter that they must stop contacting her directly. How interesting. He warned that the matter is under police investigation and investors are considered potential state witnesses. And contacting her directly would amount to interfering with actually the witness herself. He also said that Khan is in hospital, but is still in South Africa and cooperating with authorities. For its part, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority says that it was unaware of any allegations before being approached for comment. So it's quite interesting that the cases was at the FAI's ombud, but the FSCA is unaware of the cases. So the FSCA's Gerard van der Venter confirmed that Wood & Boone remains registered as an authorized financial services provider in good standing, but stressed that the FSCA will now immediately investigate the matter. He also reminded all financial services providers that their registered contact details must be kept up to date as per law. Then also a very interesting story. This week, the South African financial sector has launched a new market surveillance code of conduct to bolster integrity and prevent abuses like insider trading and anti-competitive behavior. An effort shaped in large by the Steinhoff scandal that we're all aware of, still casting its shadow over the industry. The newly launched Code of Conduct is a joint initiative by South Africa's key financial institutions and regulators to align the country's market practices with global best standards. It aims to uphold market integrity and prevent abuse, anti-competitive behavior, and insider trading, as already mentioned. At the launch event in Cape Town this week, the FSCA's head of market abuse, Alex Bascu, called Steinhoff the country's biggest corporate scandal. He described Marcus Jooste as a brilliant schemer whose devices were wiped every 2 weeks and whose hidden overseas assets remain under investigation. The Steinhoff fallout forced the FSCA to rethink how it allocates its resources. Bascu revealed that the regulator closed around 80 market abuse cases last year using the World Bank recommendations approach and spent 20% of its time helping foreign regulators track cross-border financial misconduct. Then also another warning, I'm sure you've seen it. So this is where the FSCA has issued a public warning about scammers impersonating Magda from Signia. Now, if you don't know who she is, yes, she is. She actually wrote a brilliant book about her story. So this is happening again, like all the other scams on WhatsApp, Facebook, Telegram, and to solicit fake investments. The regulator said that these individuals are not authorized to offer any financial services, and there's absolutely, obviously, no link to Magna or Signia directly. Then in closing, Francois, very quickly from the FBI side, the capstone assessment results were released for those who missed it, and well done to certification under the leadership of Nikki Online. Well done. Please help us to celebrate the candidates to post on social media. So a lot of the candidates went to social media to say, yay, I made it. Let's congratulate them. And then members online, remember about Training Tuesday. On the 1st of July, we will hear how the tax ombud promote taxpayers' right during the tax seasons. As we know, that is opening for taxpayers to submit their tax returns. And then on the 8th of July, Training Tuesday will focus on implementing and monitoring a financial plan. Francois, I know you've got a jam-packed program. So for today, that's all. Scooting back to you in Cape Town. Goodbye.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much, Lalani and the Financial Planning Institute. And congrats on everybody who, it's historical, right? It's the first time that the capstone sort of method was used for people to be certified. And it's an absolutely fantastic journey and a new experience. So if you made it the first time around, you are now part of history, right? So absolutely amazing. Well done. Then here's Razan with Digital Savvy Advisor. And today talking or saying, insisting the bio is back.
Good morning and a warm welcome to another episode of the Digital Savvy Advisor. Now, one of the unique advantages of what we do at PROpulsion is that we get to quietly observe consumer behavior. And over the past 3 years, we've tracked over 1.7 million digital interactions. And that's not from forms or funnels. It's from real people engaging with real advisor profiles. And what those clicks tell us is fascinating, especially when it comes to trust. Now, for this talk, I drew data from a specific data set of 2,500 advisors on PROpulsion across a year's worth of data to give you some context on how that trust shows up in real behavior. And one thing stands out clearly. By far, the most clicked section is you, the advisor. Out of more than 650,000 recorded interactions in this data set, the About Me and Professional Bio sections accounted for nearly 13% of all interaction types. And we have many interaction types. That is 6.5 times more than the next highest performing section, which is testimonials. And this trend isn't unique to PROpulsion. It shows up in data on trust behaviors across LinkedIn, websites, even CRM profiles. People go to the bio first, before the tools, before the offers, even before the book a meeting button. What people want to know first is, who are you and can I trust you? And the broader research does back this up. A Harvard Business Review report reports that 84% of people say trust is a deal breaker in choosing a service provider. LinkedIn's own research even shows that a completed personal about section boosts visibility up to 3.5 times. And Google's own data in your money or your life industries, like finance, demonstrated expertise and credibility are non-negotiable. It's a consistent pattern. The human behavior or the human part gets the most attention. So if you think nobody is reading your bio, the data says otherwise. In fact, it might be the most powerful section of your entire digital presence. So how do you write a better About Me? Now, based on what we've seen and what top LinkedIn profile experts advise, there are 3 things that strong bios all do well. Be clear, be human, and be credible. Now, on being clear, it's not about making your story longer. It's about making your position clearer. Start with who you help and not where you studied. If your bio still begins with, I'm a qualified planner with 15 years experience, you're missing the opportunity to speak directly to the person you serve. Think about it as your digital positioning statement, not your CV. Number 2, be human. Connections build trust. We all know this. You don't need to overshare, but adding a reason, a belief, or a spark of personality, makes you memorable. People don't just want to know what you do. They want to know why you do it. Number 3, be credible. Not through long lists of credentials, but through clarity, tone, and proof. Use language that clients actually understand. So drop the jargon and add social proof. A stat, association, a credential, a client testimonials. These are things that we know work incredibly well. Your bio should clearly answer 3 things: what you do, who you help, and why it matters. That's not fluff. It's function. And it's not just a bio. Remember, it's a trust building statement. So if your bio has been sitting quietly in the background, untouched, unlinked, or hidden below your contact form, maybe it's time to bring it to the top. The most powerful conversion tool in your business may not be a lead magnet or a fancy CRM. It might just be the story you forgot to tell. So that's it from me this week. Wishing you trust that connects and bios that get read. Back to you, Francois.
Good. There I go. Thank you very much, Rizwan. Really some great insights. I love it. And yeah, it just seems like this, focusing on this authentic human self is just sort of the way to go forward, right? I think it's always been that, but I think we lost our way at some point. So maybe it's one of the good outcomes of where we are headed, that we become more aware of that again. So next up, thank you very much. Next up is David, and David today talking about value propositions in Bulletproof Your Business.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. And with the Conduct of Financial Institutions Act on the horizon, we've been having a few questions from clients. What and how can I charge my clients in the future? Our answer is always the same. For now, forget about the charging. Start with your value proposition. That will help you figure out the how to charge question. I'm David Cook from FI Consult, and today in Bulletproof Your Business, I want to talk about your value proposition. And I'll say this up front. The value is not what you do, it's how you make people feel. If your value proposition is something like, we provide comprehensive financial planning, tailored investment strategies, and retirement solutions, you're not alone. The desktop research I've done on this shows that many advisors' websites use very similar wording. But here's the truth. No client lies awake at night thinking, I need a diversified portfolio. They're thinking, am I going to be okay? Can I retire when I want to? Will my family be secure if something happens to me? These are the intrinsic needs, the deep emotional human needs, and that's where your value lies. I've recently been rereading the book, The Life First Advisor by David Haynes and Barry LaValle. They propose that financial planning should start with the person and not the portfolio. They challenge us to stop thinking like product providers and technical experts and think like life guides. When you start with the client's life, their dreams and their values, you create advice that's meaningful, and that's where the value is perceived and felt. Think about it. You're not just helping people with money. You're helping them live the life they really want, on purpose, with confidence, and without fear. So here's the shift. Stop leading with what you do and start leading with why it matters to your clients. Instead of saying, we do holistic financial planning and asset management, say, we help people get clear on what life looks like and build the financial framework to live it fully. Let's go a little bit deeper into some brain science. So extrinsic offerings, things like financial strategies, products, services, those are all replaceable. Another advisor, even an AI or robot one, can do that. It talks to the neocortex part of the brain. The intrinsic value, on the other hand, the relationship, the human side, the limbic side, the peace of mind, the confidence to take a sabbatical, the feeling that somebody is looking out for your family when you cannot. That again is the real value. So here's a challenge to you. Rewrite your value proposition today. Here's a bit of a structure to start with your thoughts. I help my client to, so that they can. Once you've worked through that, rework it into a statement based on what your clients truly care about: security, freedom, impact, time with the family. Rethink your first client meeting. Don't open with goals and finances. In fact, the best practices we've seen happening is you move away from having a conversation about finances in the initial meeting to a conversation about life, asking something like, what does a great life look for you? Then look at your website and your bio. Are you describing your process, or are you describing your client's desired future? Your real value is not the plan. It's how you change someone's experience in their life. The technical work enables it, but the transformation, that's what they remember, that's what they refer to, and that's what builds loyalty. And then, just for your brain fact, a large part of our brain activity happens outside of conscious awareness. Some studies suggest that 95% of brain activity occurs unconsciously, handling tasks like regulating our heartbeat, digestion, breathing, as well as influencing emotions, memories, and decision-making. The unconscious processing helps the brain manage essential functions automatically, allowing us to focus on more conscious thought processes. And back to you in the studio, Francois.
Thank you very much, David. Fantastic. Some very useful, practical insights. So thank you very much for that. Hopefully, everyone is making notes as we go through the show, and that you then see which of these things are you going to try and implement in the next month or so. It's always some valuable stuff there. Anyway, here is Lene with quick announcements.
Good morning, PROpulsion family, and welcome back to another segment of our quick announcement. I brought out my bright songs today because things are about to get hot. So you can see I am my father's child. I actually know how to use this. So I hope everyone had a great week and that this may inspire you on what to do this weekend. So let's quickly jump straight into our quick announcements, and I'm going to jump in with reminding you to secure your seat to lead the change. Our PROpulsion Tech event is happening on the 5th and the 7th of August. Please go and secure your tickets. It is $4.95 if you're not a PROpulsion member, and if you're a PROpulsion member, it's on the house. You can find your special code on the platform when you are booking your ticket. So please go and do that, and then you can join us for a great immersive day, showcases, demos with some of the top tech providers. There will be new guys there. It's just a chance for you to connect with peers and also providers. So it's going to be a great opportunity to see what you can use in your practice to elevate it and lead the change. So please make sure that you book it and put it in your diary. Just a small reminder, CPD will be available for these 2 days, but it will only be available for people that is attending the event live online, and then the recordings will be available up until the 28th of August if you're not able to join maybe both days, but CPD will then not be available for that. So just a little note there. Then moving on the 8th of July, we are starting to rerun our AI training for financial advisors, and we will be starting again with our gentle introduction. So if you are a tech newbie or an AI rookie and you still think ChatGPT is a WhatsApp group, this maybe is for you. There'll be no jargon, you won't feel overwhelmed. It'll just be plain, practical, simple stuff to get you started. This is your entry point to becoming a tech-savvy advisor, and all of the information you'll be able to find down in the description bar. There's a link that you can click to go to the information page. It is 348 Rand to book a seat, and best of all, if you're a PROpulsion member, you get 50% off. And that code, again, you can find on our platform. And yes, if you have any further questions or maybe need assistance with anything, you're more than welcome to email us and we'll gladly help you. And then, before we get back to the show, if you love what we're doing, please don't just sit there like a choppy on the braai. Please hit the like button, click subscribe, and share this with someone that needs a bit of propulsion in their practice. Thank you for joining us every single week. We love all of you so much, and you are the reason why we do this. So please, let's get back to the show and enjoy it. Have a nice weekend. Bye.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. It's like I never know what to expect these days. and it brings a lot of energy to the show. So love it. Anyway, so my guest this morning is Sharon Moller. Sharon is a financial planning coach at Old Mutual Wealth, where she helps financial planners integrate life coaching and behavioral finance into their engagement. She's got lots of experience. She's brilliantly qualified. She knows what she's talking about. And I'm excited to welcome Sharon. Good morning.
Good morning, Francois. Thank you for having me this morning.
It's a massive privilege and a big pleasure, and we can vice versa, the big and the massive and all of that. So thank you very much for getting up early. You know, here in Cape Town, it's not fun to get up early sometimes because it feels like it is way earlier than what it really is. But on that, I want to get into conversation. We've got loads of time this morning, so I really want to delve as deep as we possibly can. And I want to start off by sort of saying, I mean, this whole thing, there's lots of talk around AI. There's lots of talk around technology, automation, you know, how can we make things more efficient and make it better and all of that. And then there's the other conversation around, yeah, but AI is doing all this, all these amazing things, and it's getting better and better and better at doing this. I remember only like 2 years ago, I was sitting in some sessions where people were making fun of ChatGPT. I think they sort of hulle sluk bietjie hulle woorde op hierdie stadium. So you know, it's an interesting world that we're getting into, and so AI has already changed the way that we do things. Where have you seen the biggest changes so far?
Yeah, I mean, so if you remember a couple of years ago, I think it was last year, we had an advice forum with Old Mutual Wealth, and I thought I'd take on some ChatGPT challenge. And I did a financial plan using ChatGPT, just putting in a couple of assumptions, you know, as much information as I could possibly do. So just all the assets, liabilities, income, and expenses. And it actually gave me a shortfall that was very accurate. And without even giving a proviso saying that you need to contact your financial planner, which was a little bit scary for me then. But we moved on from that. So, I mean, I think planners are using ChatGPT in very different ways. But what has been scary for me in the last couple of months is that I've been noticing in the world that I play in, which is really coaching. I'm immersed in this coaching world with master coaches and professional coaches and different coaching bodies. And AI is actually stepping into the coaching world now as well. So if you think about what that looks like, there's almost, you can have an avatar that you can design for yourself, and you can then interact with this avatar. You can speak to it and it speaks back to you. And it's been designed to actually just ask coaching questions and to help you figure out what it is that you're stuck in, you know. So if you've got an issue that you're trying to unpack, that the coaching is there. Now, what it's doing in the coaching world is it's making coaching more available to the broader population. Because if you think about what coaching costs, there aren't enough coaches in the world, and also, you know, it costs too much to be able to engage with a coach. And coaching is very valuable because it gets you to see what you might not be, or get you to achieve goals that you want to achieve. Okay, so the thing is that, and this is the scary part, is that not many people have the funds or have the exposure to a master coach. Now, a master coach has got almost 2,000 hours of coaching behind their name or under their belt. And that experience is something quite incredible because it's not just about the questions that they ask or how they listen. It's the presence that they create, right? And what you're doing when you're coaching, you're actually looking to see what about this person do they need to see more of, or need to create awareness around so that they can become unstuck, so they can move forward? What do they need to change in their assumptions, in their beliefs, so that they can actually get what they want out of life? And so AI is coming in, and anybody who hasn't experienced a full-on master coach won't know the difference. And I think that's what's scary for me in the financial planning world. Because if coaching is coming, if AI is entrenching in the coaching world, we always thought that at least the human side of the conversation would be safe, right? Because AI can do the calculations, and it can generate reports for us, and it can sometimes even give advice around what investments to put, you know, what solutions you should follow. And we never thought, or I didn't at least, I must maybe just make this my problem. I never ever thought that there would be a risk of AI actually taking the important part of the conversation away. But it seems to be that this might be the case. Okay. So that's what
Yeah.
I think.
And I mean, the big question then for me becomes, because often, let me just tee this up. Why I want to ask this question is because, I often find in conversations that, financial planners, financial advisors, even people running financial planning businesses and advisory firms are going like, you know what, I'm beyond tech. I'm like, before computers, like all those kinds of things. And they sort of saying, no, this is not for us and our clients won't like it and all of those things. And I always say, and I've been saying this a lot more now, is that it's not about what we are comfortable with. It's not so much what we want to do and don't want to do and what we think our clients want and what we think they don't want. Clients are going to start to adopt these things, because I was sitting at the airport, when was it, the day before yesterday, and there was a youngish girl, and I assume it's her parents, and they were sitting there talking about AI, like it was like my mind was blown. So I'm saying, like, clients are going to adopt these things. So my question to you is, because you work with so many planners, like, are they embracing this? Are they trying to or are they trying to avoid it? Where are they at? Are they noticing what might be happening at the moment?
I think the conversation is vastly different depending on who you're talking to. I think you're probably going to know more about this than I do, training some planners on, or some of the planners on AI. There are leaders in it, so the early adopters, that embrace AI and use it to as maximum as they possibly can. So creating reports, helping streamline business processes and efficiencies. But I haven't seen anybody use AI to its fullest extent yet, but my experience is very limited. I think I'm just trying to understand it myself at the moment. I'm trying to see how this is going to look going forward, because I've been taken aback. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling nervous, because I thought that at least coaching was something that we could keep safe and sacred away from technology, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And I think when I speak about this in the open forum that I might have available to me, the response is that, okay, so AI might be doing more of what I can do, even more than I thought in a financial planning world. Now it's going to start asking great questions. And it's funny, I actually, Frank, I'm going to go off a little bit here. So what I did was, if you use ChatGPT in any form that's more than just trying to, ask questions and trying to get it to write stuff for you, and you build a bot or you build your own ChatGPT, you can actually design it so that it does things in a coaching way. So I designed my own coaching bot, and it actually coaches me around financial issues. It's trying to understand my relationship with money, and I've actually trained it so that it won't solve. It will just ask questions. And through the questioning, I've asked it to structure the questions in a certain way. I've given it as much data as I can, and it asks great questions. And because I've given it instructions, it never steps in and tries to solve my problem for me. And I think that's what, as planners, we have this innate human condition that when we're sitting in front of a client, the value that we're adding is really to solve the situation for them. And sometimes it is necessary, but it's not always the case. And it's funny how when I look at what planners tell me that around their experience and what they're willing to accept around AI, it's more that they don't think it's going to happen in their lifetime, that they won't be working anymore when this is going to come about. Or they say to me, no, my clients will never interact with a machine in this way. It will want human interaction. And they think about their client base and they reflect back on what their clients want. But the thing is that, like you say, the generation that's coming, they don't know how to interact with humans. They've been raised on technology. They sit with their phones, they engage with WhatsApp and Snap. And if I look at my children, my daughter is 21, so she's not the generation that most parents would be working with. But she has great anxiety when she has to have an interaction with a human being, whether it's virtually, if it's somebody that she's not friends with or hasn't actually built a great connection with, she'd rather communicate with them via WhatsApp messages. And she's in the business world. So it's been a very stressful moment for her to try and overcome this thing, because they've been raised with technology, even though I try to avoid putting technology in front of my kids. That is the environment that they're in. So yeah, I don't know. I think I think people are putting their heads in the sand. Planners themselves, they avoid looking at what's coming. And technology is evolving so quickly. In 3 months from now, we could have something that is powerful that clients would want to engage with. So I'm a little bit nervous and a little bit afraid.
I know I'm on the same page because, I mean, let me add on to that two things. On the one hand, there's, I think it's like internet banking back in the day. Nobody wanted to use it because nobody trusted it. And until you experience it, it's like, oh, okay, no, I love it. And, it's just, we'll always have this sort of adoption curve situation, I think. But, and that's the thing, as soon as somebody is going to experience what this is like. Now, there was it was last year, the year before, maybe with one of the big universities in the US. So they had this issue where students were starting to use ChatGPT, but ChatGPT was giving them the answers and solving the problems that they were having. And obviously that's not the professor way, and that's not the teacher's way. So the teacher is sort of more like a coach and sort of guidance, but you need to figure out the answer yourself. So they built their own version, and so that's pretty much what you did. In that sense. And then during their summer break, they gave 75 or 76 students access to that bot. And the feedback afterwards, that was the amazing thing. And this is where I think the risk or the danger lies for us, is that once somebody experienced that, the feedback was, this bot or this whatever, I don't know what they called it, was so patient, so non-judgmental. It was really nice. It was friendly. It never wavered from that. And that experience was absolutely amazing. And I think about that same different person at the airport that I had 2 meetings at the airport, just to be clear. So the other person was telling me about his daughter that went for her first consultation with an advisor, and she didn't know what to expect. She didn't know what to ask. She was like really like, not very comfortable. And then afterwards, she said she asked such stupid questions in hindsight. And I think that's the problem when you sit in front of another human being, that even if you're not being judged, I think sometimes you do feel like you're being judged. And if you now engage with something like ChatGPT, for example, you can ask a billion stupid questions, and you're never going to feel like that was a stupid question. And I think that's the thing that we need to understand, where it's going and what we are up against, I think, from that perspective. So that's just sort of want to add on to what you say. I hope I'm not repeating what you were saying, but that's in my world what I'm experiencing. And I mean, what is left then for us to do? Like, how do we, because I don't want to terminate the situation where it's us against the machines, right? So I want us to be better. But what is left then for us to focus on and to do you think?
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot over the last couple of months, almost doing a little bit of introspection, because, I was thinking, sure, but what do I do now? Because I'm training planners how to have coaching conversations, and now AI is going to step in and be able to do this better and faster than what I can do it, never mind what anybody else would be able to do. So I was thinking, and I think there are, through my testing and my trying out different things that are available at the moment, and me being part of communities that are talking about this in a very real way, I think what's come to light for me is that we have to, what AI can't do, AI can solve a problem, right? And it can also ask great questions. If I train it to just ask questions and just ask questions that are open-ended and start with what, and focus on the emotion, I can train a bot to do something like that very simply. But what it doesn't do, Francois, what I'm realizing is that it doesn't coach the person. So if you think about a human being and how we show up in the world, there's a lot that we keep in our blind spots. Like, we were thinking about earlier, a lot of the condition that we live in is that we're not facing reality. We're not living in our real world. We make up stories around ourselves that we live into, and we have like lenses into the world and world views and there's a lot sitting in our blind spots because of how we're trying to keep ourselves safe. And in coaching, when you're sitting with a master coach, what they're doing is they're not coaching the situation that you're bringing to the room. You ask for what is it that you would like to think about today, and the person would say, okay, maybe from a financial planning point of view, I want to feel better about how I exist around money. I'm always feeling guilty, or I'm feeling frustrated. Now, what a bot would do is it would question you to help you see, about what's going on for you in that moment, and try and get you to find your own solution through the questioning process. But what a master coach would do is they would be looking at what about this person, this individual, is having them experience this situation. So it's coaching the person and not the problem, okay? And I think you'll notice the difference when you're coaching. I always notice when I'm coaching the person, every issue that they bring to me is going to be solved if I can just help the person see what they're avoiding to look at. Because we lie to ourselves all the time. We tell ourselves stories that aren't true. We don't even know it, and that's what a bot won't be able to pick up, because you're going to be telling it something and it can only respond to the words that you're using. Well, at the moment, right? Because we know that AI might step in and be able to analyze the way that we're looking, the expressions that we have in our faces, and it can look at the finer details, something that the human eye won't be able to pick up. So that it might able to pick up where we're avoiding to say something, or when we're hesitating, or when we have a somatic response to a question or a line of conversation that we're having with technology. But right at the moment, if we're coaching the person, then we're looking at the golden thread that ties everything together for this human experience. Now, I'm trying to make the sense of this in a way that everyone can understand. We have a relationship to money. We have a relationship to everything in our world, right? I have a relationship to this pen. And it's about understanding what about this relationship to money has you showing up in this way and having this certain experience that you feel is either frustrating or it's not serving you. So as soon as we start coaching the person, that is something that AI can't do. And I think that's the skill that we need to start focusing on. And that's what's going to differentiate us as planners from what technology is going to be able to do in the coming days, in the near future. I hope
Sharon,
that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I'm sort of just thinking, because now obviously, I'm thinking as you're speaking, as I'm listening to you, and I'm wondering, I was challenged this week. So I said something at one of the talks that I did, and I was focusing on, I said, oh guys, we've got to level this part up. And I had this person, out of pure curiosity, it didn't come from a bad place. It just definitely came from a good place. But I got challenged in the sense that, clients are just worried about, like, they come to you with a problem they have, and it's usually a product problem. It's not usually something when they come to you, and that's what you're there to solve. So there's, for those advisors, brokers, whoever, who's still stuck in product is my value proposition. What is the risk when there's a risk to all of us? I don't think it doesn't matter where your value propositions sit on the spectrum, right? I mean, it will be impacted, but particularly those ones who've decided, maybe intentionally, unintentionally, I don't know, just not decided to move on from that, product. That's what I'm good at, and that's fine if you have that. But is there a bigger risk for those than for somebody who is doing coaching on the other side of the spectrum with clients, and they're more focused on other things, and product is sort of the buy thing, it comes after the fact. It's not the main focus. Is there a difference in the levels of risk, do you think, of how different people that are in different places will be impacted?
Yes, and definitely. I mean, if you think about it, I'm going to be honest now. I'm in my 50s, okay, and I have friends that are in their 50s, and that's who I associate with, okay? And they don't want that anymore, because you can get that so simply by just asking a question on Google now. Because even Google, you don't need ChatGPT to be able to solve things. Your phone, you can ask a question and it will actually help you like ChatGPT used to. So I can ask about a product, I can ask about technical information. I can even, if I ask a question and it asks some follow-up questions, I can get even more insight into how money works for me personally and what I should be looking at, right? So I think if planners are going to make that their differentiator, that they can help clients with technical stuff and help them do calculations. And, I don't think they're going to have something to differentiate themselves for very long. It might just then be based on their relationships that they have with their clients and that their clients are loyal to them. But new clients, it's going to be very difficult to attract them because they can get whatever you're offering, they can get it for free. And they can get it quickly, and it's accessible to the extent that I've got my financial planner right here on my phone. If they can, and it's going to be easier for them to use. And if you see what the tech companies are doing, they're very smart. They're so smart when they come to this. They're giving all the training for free because they know that if they can upskill the general population, and it's not just for your younger guys, you're looking at older people. They're trying to educate the old people as well. And I'm saying I'm not old, right? So it's like your people that are in their 70s. I don't know, maybe that's not old either. But so they're freely educating people to use technology, and they're making it so simple to engage with that you don't need to. I mean, our tool that we train on is 300 times more complicated than using an AI bot or some kind of large language model. And they're giving free training so that the population can actually start using it, because they know that the more that people use it, the more they're going to be able to develop, and the faster AI is going to become something that we're going to need drastically and desperately in our lives. So yeah, I don't know if your differentiator is just product and even just advice these days. I think it's going to be tough to be around in 3 years from now.
Yeah. See, that's the thing and I think that's the exciting part about being in business. And I always feel like I still believe that one of the biggest mistakes we probably made in all the years is to, if somebody works within a big FSP, to make them think that they work for themselves just simply because they earn commission. So there's lots of things that come with that. But the positive thing about it is that most of those individuals would have a entrepreneur mindset, or at least a business mindset, and say, how do I build? And if you have that, then you have to evolve over time. You can't keep doing the things that we did even just 3 years ago, never mind 5 and 10 years ago. So those things are all important. But we also use all of these tools, Sharon. So, to help people with budgeting. It's interesting. Like I've spoken to quite a few people who say, you know what, when I start working with a new client, I tell them to sign up to this app and then link their bank accounts and then do it for 3 months, then come back, and then they get all that data and they can see a lot of things from their budgeting. So they don't say, here's an Excel spreadsheet, go and complete your budget or give me your budget. They use actual tools so they can really see what's happening. And it also takes away all of that hard work, I think, from a client's point of view. So how do we remove friction, etc.? But the question I want to get to, you get tools for budgeting and risk profiling. And, I know like Old Mutual specifically has got like something that a goal conversation kind of process and all of that. And many others would have that help you set goals and so on and so forth. But is it possible to take those things where we typically sit there and ask the client, so give me this, give me that, give me this, and I put it into the tool and then I produce some report. How do we turn those things into conversation and coaching tools?
Well, I think it's the lens, right? So often we've been using these tools, these financial planning tools, to help us get insight into the client and to help us be able to solve for them, right? We do a cash flow analysis so that we can tell them how much they need to save more, or how they need to spend less, or what they need to do differently around their planning. We do budgeting so that we can understand what the client needs now and what they're going to need in the future, and see if we can maybe save a little bit somewhere. So it's more the lens has always been for our use as planner, so that we can get insight into the client, so that we can do better for the client, right? We can help them reach their goals. Where if you think about financial planning from a different point of view and all these tools that you're using, and it's not for me to get insight as planner, but rather for the client to create awareness for them around things that might get in their way, or creating insight for them on things that, unlocking possibilities through the conversation, then you're coaching, you're financial planning for the person. And you're not just going to be doing stuff to tick a box or to make sure that you're compliant, or to, bring you insight so that you can look like the hero and save this person and help them solve their situation. So, Francois, I don't know if there's a model, a framework that we use in IBCC that maybe just will bring a little bit more context to what is possible in this space. So if you think about, this is our process, I'm just going to talk to you what's being reflected around this. You'll see the outer circle here is really just a financial planning process. We call it the integrated wealth planning process. It's an onboarding, so you do initial engagement, goal setting, data gathering, you have a strategy conversation, and then there's a developing scenarios part where we use the tool, and I think the integrator has been widely shown on your PROpulsion program and show, so I think many of the planners know about it. And then implementation will happen, and then there's a review, right? So you work yourself around this framework of financial planning in our world, and I think planners have different versions of this. So I'm not saying it needs to look exactly like this. I hope it doesn't. I hope you've differentiated that so that it's yours. Now, in the middle, you'll see there's a little bit of a pie. So there's a wheel, a money wheel. And in this wheels, you'll see different segments. And we talk about, firstly, in the initial engagement part of your onboarding, there's understanding who the client is, right? Or understanding what they're about. And we try and figure out who this person is and what's important to them. And then we want to understand what money is to them. So the relationship to money. And then we want to understand their goals and their dreams. So there are tools, for instance, just in these three segments that we would use, like a goal setting tool, or, maybe a wheel of life, or the other goal setting methodologies that you can use. But the difference here is that what we're trying to understand is what is the purpose behind the money. And it's not for us as financial planners to understand it. It's for the client to understand it, because if they can't achieve the stuff that they're hoping to achieve, then, from a goal setting point of view, there must be a reason why they want that specific outcome, or that specific, say even it's traveling. They want to go overseas to visit family members. You have to think about, what is the purpose of that for you? What are you achieving? What is the experience you're hoping for? Because if it's like something, and we've got to get to the emotion, right? It's connection. If it gets to the place where I feel like I'm not connected to my family anymore, they're so far away, it's important that I go and see them, because that's where, I need human connection in my life. And then we know, okay, so that's what the purpose is. If you can't travel overseas because you don't have enough money, what else is possible? And it's not about us telling the client they can't do it. It's not about us telling the client what they can do. It's about the client working through this thinking process with us, so that they can, because they understand the purpose of that particular goal, or the purpose of how they spend, or the purpose of, like what's going on for them when they actually spend when they shouldn't, all of those conversations. It's creating insight and awareness for the client, so that they have more choice and they have more power, and they can open up and unlock different possibilities for them. So this framework, I can talk to you the whole day about it, but each of these segments in the wheel, it's really just about trying to unpack the awareness for the client, so that we can work smarter and we can help them make better decisions and better choices around their money. And it's not really about us. And that's what the coaching the person is about, and not coaching the situation or trying to solve the problem.
I love that statement, that it's not about us, and that goes for everything. And I think, sorry, I don't want to get sidetracked, but it's like whether we do planning, whether we think about how we grow our businesses, whether we think about succession planning, it's never about us. It's always about what's best for the client. And if we do what's best for the client, and we really understand what it is that's important to them and why they do certain things, etc., then we will benefit from that in any event. I feel like it's almost like, there's a lot of things we do with the show that I can't say, oh, I did X and then Y happened in my business. But there's always, we do something here and something happens here, but there's never a direct correlation. And sometimes feel like, I don't know why that's one of those laws that I don't know how it works, but it's absolutely amazing. You do one thing that seems completely unconnected or disconnected from the thing that you want, but it's actually somewhere it still helps you get there. But I guess, sort of to start winding off or down, Sharon, I guess I've got a big question around, so just maybe two things in one. One, coaching, is that the thing that everybody should be aiming for to develop themselves to that point where they can do this coaching with clients and coach the person and not call it the financial problem, or is it not for everybody? That, and then if I do want to, then sort of how do I do that?
Okay, so I mean, there are various financial coaching courses available in South Africa and across the world. I think people have engaged in coaching courses. We have one at Old Mutual Wealth that I facilitate, and yeah, this is one of the models that I showed you. That's one of the tools or the frameworks that we use. You see more about what's going on for the client and help the client see more about what's going on for them. So, I mean, you've just got to reach out and go do a little bit of, maybe ask ChatGPT. I don't know will come up there, but yeah, just reach out to us and we can point you in the right direction. So yeah, the coaching is going to become important, but I think that we only have so much time to get ourselves to that level, and unfortunately it's not something you can just be trained on. I've been coaching for almost 10 years now, and it's the hours of coaching that helps you become a better coach. It's not the course that you do. So just practicing, listening, reading your clients and not solving all the time would already be useful. If you can just reflect on your meetings after every meeting, how much did I try and solve for this situation? Or was there an opportunity for the client to actually step in? And could I help them see more of themselves through the questioning that I was doing? So yeah, I mean, the practicing is the thing, Francois. So we need to get our butts into gear. Sorry, I mustn't swear on. We must get our butts into gear because it's going to take time. It's not going to happen.
For sure. And I think it's got a lot to do with being intentional about what you want to do and have clarity on what it is that you want to do. But let's just imagine we're in a massive room this morning. We are basically in a massive virtual room. There's lots of financial planners staring at us with big eyes and sort of thinking about different things. What would be your message to them today if you think about everything we spoke about, the AI, the coaching, and the future of the profession? Sharon, what's top of mind?
I think that it's about, we need to open our eyes, okay? And we've got to be aware that the world isn't like it used to be 5 years ago. Things change like on a dime. Every minute of the day, there's something new that's coming out with regards to technology. It's definitely going to impact one of our industries. Every single one of us is going to be impacted by it. I think it's about stepping in, stepping up, and helping AI develop. I mean, financial planners, this is your industry. So you should be involved with the technology so that how AI starts coming into our space, and I mean, the people are trying to get as involved as they can in how AI is going to be stepping into that world. So, I mean, we have a chance to actually decide what this is going to look like. If we just put our heads in the sand and think that, it's okay, I'm not going to be around when this is an issue, it's unfortunately, we're designing a future for the people that you know, those young individuals that are coming into your businesses, whatever they're going to be experiencing in the future is what you're going to be influenced. So I think get involved wherever you can and try and learn as much about it as you can and do your coaching courses and start coaching your clients. I promise you now, it's at least a step ahead of what AI is at the moment, and I don't know for how long that's going to be the case.
Fantastic. Sharon, I want to say a big thank you to you for your time and for all the insights. I think you are really amazing at what you do. You have a very gifted way of sharing as well. I've heard you present quite a few times. And so thank you very much for that. And then if you want to get in touch with Sharon, you can obviously connect with her on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where it's at, and she's very friendly, and she will be happy to connect with you. So if you want to connect with her, have a conversation, or just run some things, you're welcome to connect with her on there. Righty, so that's it, Sharon. Thank you very much. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. Thanks again for spending your time with us, and have a good one until we see each other again soon.
I hope it's soon. Thank you, Francois.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Sharon. That was amazing. Then my guest next week, can you guess who it is? My guest is Andy Hart from Humans Under Management and Trap and Maven Advice and all of the good stuff. Yes, that Andy Hart. So we're going to talk about the Bionic Advisor. So that's going to be a good one next week. So please come and join us for that. That's it. Righty. Thank you very much for joining us today. Hope you have a fantastic weekend, and we look forward to seeing you back next week. In the meantime, stay safe, be blessed and prosper, stay curious, and continue to raise the bar. Love you lots. Have a fantastic one. Bye-bye.